very unfair. The judge is conflicted, as you know. It's very unfair what's going on. And I should be allowed to campaign. And whoever heard of this? You got indicted for that? People in the court just said to me, I can't believe it. This is the case.
And that was Donald Trump right outside of the courtroom after the first day of testimony in his criminal New York hush money payment trial concluded. Folks, my name is Aaron Parnas. I'm an attorney and news reporter, and here's all the news you missed from today, April 22nd. Today, Donald Trump had his first real day in criminal court, and opening arguments began this morning in his hush money trial. Prosecutors came out with the blast, calling Donald Trump's conduct a criminal conspiracy and a cover-up in an effort to undermine and interfere with the 2016 presidential election. Prosecutors in their opening statement went through what they expect the jury to hear through the evidence. They said that Michael Cohen, Stormy Daniels, and David Pecker were going to be three main witnesses in the trial, and that ultimately this is a documents case. This is based on whether or not Donald Trump falsified 34 separate documents in an effort to commit a fraud, in this case to commit a campaign finance violation. Remember, in New York, falsifying business records in the first degree is punishable by up to 5 years in New York State prison, and Donald Trump faces 34 counts, which means he will face up to 5 years in prison, although many legal experts, and myself included, believe that because this is a nonviolent first-time offense from Trump, it is unlikely that he will get any jail time here. In response, defense attorney Todd Blanche went up in front of the jury and merely just said that Donald Trump is innocent. He focused his opening arguments around the fact that Donald Trump was a successful businessman, that Donald Trump was previously president of the United States and earned the title to be called President Trump. Now, Blanche is the defense attorney, meaning he does not have a burden of proof in this case. The burden of proof lies solely on the prosecution. They have to prove all 34 charges and the elements for each charge beyond a reasonable doubt. Blanche and Trump could merely sit at the defense table, put up no witnesses, not make one statement in front of the jury, and they can still get an acquittal because Donald Trump, like any criminal defendant, is presumed innocent until the prosecution is able to prove otherwise. Now, following opening statements, David Pecker, who was, remember, the former head of National Enquirer, went up on the witness stand and testified briefly. He's going to talk about the catch-and-kill schemes that Donald Trump, Michael Cohen, and others were involved in an effort to suppress bad stories and coverage of Donald Trump leading up to the 2016 election. Court ended early today because of the Passover holiday, and David Pecker will be back on the witness stand first thing tomorrow morning. Remember, they are not holding court on Wednesday, but they will resume testimony on Thursday as well. And as Donald Trump was leaving the courtroom, he was making some statements about one of the witnesses in his case, Michael Cohen. Watch for yourself.
Pomerantz, or what Pomerantz did, because that's bad stuff. And when are they going to look at all the lies that Cohen did in the last trial? He got caught lying in the last trial. So he got caught lying, pure lying. And when are they going to look at that?
Now that statement walked very closely to the gag order Trump is already accused of violating on at least seven different occasions. The gag order imposed by Judge Marchand said that Donald Trump cannot make public statements about any witnesses in the case. Michael Cohen is a key witness in the case and specifically gets under Donald Trump's skin, as Michael Cohen was arguably one of the closest people to Trump for many years, being his personal attorney and being the middleman in this hush money payment scheme. So Cohen is expected to testify, and Trump once again continues to make comments about Cohen to the press, towing the line of this gag order and potentially getting himself in hot water with the judge. Now, Trump's trial wasn't the only news of the day. Kari Lake, the former gubernatorial candidate for Republicans in Arizona and current Senate candidate for Arizona Republicans, lost big time in front of the United States Supreme Court. She previously sued following the 2022 election in Arizona, arguing that Arizona's electronic voting machines were improper and did not give her a free and fair election. She lost in the lower courts twice, and after appealing to the United States Supreme Court, she lost again. The United States Supreme Court issued an order today saying that it would not consider the merits of the case. To get the United States Supreme Court to consider the merits of a case, Lake needed at least 4 justices to sign off. Now, Lake has been on the campaign trail arguing that there was a fraud in 2022 and spreading the big lie, and highlighting the fact that many of the lower court judges were Democrat. Well, now you have a 6-3 conservative majority in the United States Supreme Court, and she couldn't get 4 of those justices to agree to even consider her case, let alone decided on the merits. So Kari Lake lost big, but that's also not the only news of the day. Today, Taiwan was struck with a 6.1 magnitude earthquake. There, it is unknown what the damage was. It is unknown what the casualties, if any, were. But this comes just weeks after the island nation was struck with a 7.2 magnitude earthquake, one of the largest in the last 25 years. Please join me in saying a prayer for the people of Taiwan. Meanwhile, in New York, Columbia University students were told not to go to class in person today. All class was virtual after pro-Palestinian protesters have taken over the lawn at the university. Now, a lot of these protesters have been screaming anti-Semitic rhetoric, including telling Jewish students to go back to Poland, using slogans like "from the river to the sea" and "globalize the Intifada," which is a chant to kill Jewish people. Now, the Columbia University president has been under fire from politicians who have said that she has failed Jewish students on campus and has not done enough to protect them from these protesters. President Biden also released a statement denouncing the anti-Semitism and calling out those who have failed to stop it. Now, outside of what's happening in New York, just up the road in New Hampshire Republicans are pushing a piece of legislation that would remove the requirement from schools for students to have the measles and polio vaccines. These are vaccines that have saved millions of lives throughout the years. Yet New Hampshire Republicans have introduced new legislation that would no longer require proof of that vaccination for enrollment. Now, the bill has already passed the New Hampshire House of Representatives. It now is pending in the New Hampshire Senate, and if it passes, it would be the first of its kind piece of legislation in the entire nation. Now, some states have religious exemptions for certain vaccinations, but no state has an exemption in whole for students to show proof of vaccination of measles or polio. This is yet another example of the anti-vaccine trend that is being peddled by many on the right. And finally, in Eastern Europe, today Russia struck a major cell tower in the town of Kharkiv in Ukraine. The television tower is located in the second largest town in Ukraine, and this comes amid many experts believe that Russia is planning another major offensive to try to capture the town of Kharkiv and the town of Odessa this summer. Now, this also comes on the heels of the United States House of Representatives passing a foreign aid bill that will provide billions of dollars in aid to Ukraine. Folks, this is all the news that you missed today. As always, if you enjoy this content and want more news, be sure to subscribe, like, turn my post notifications on, and I'll see you tomorrow.